You've probably heard stories about people making millions and even up to billions of dollars with only a few $100s invested. However, this is the exception and not the rule. Something like that, you really need to just be in the right place at the right time, or in other words, get lucky. These type of investments and gains can happen sometimes if you are in the right places at the right time, doing the right things. However, if you want to be a consistently profitable investor, you need to have a system in place, something that you can use to make consistent gains day in, day out, year after year, bull run after bull run. And that's exactly what I'm going to present to you today is my system that I call the pyramid of profit. Now, don't let the name scare you. It's not some kind of, investment scheme or anything like that. It just happens to be shaped like a triangle. Now, I've put the system together for myself using my own experiences over the past 2 bull runs. A lot of my failures and successes have culminated in this system. And so this is exactly what I'm using this to maximize my gains with a healthy dose of risk management to make sure I'm not getting wrecked on any one investment. It also takes out a lot of the guesswork, and so you don't have to worry about getting lucky or timing the market or anything like that. This system is going to help me do what I want to do during this bull run, which is make lots of profit. And so if you guys want to follow along, you can. I'm going to teach you this system, which could be a course. If I wanted, I could probably turn this into a course and sell it for a few $100s. Instead, I'm going to present it to you guys here for free. However, as always, this is not investment advice. Do your own research, do your own due diligence. You can take my system and adapt it to your own personal situation, use it how you would like. So make sure you guys aren't just copying it. But also I want to let you know that this isn't like a list of coins that you should invest in. If you guys are looking for that type of thing, I do have another bitrush's bull run blueprint, which lists all the major coins that I'm investing this bull market that I'm looking at. Obviously, there's new ones popping up all the time, so it's not a complete system, but it's only a couple dollars, and that's linked below. So if you guys are looking for something like that to apply to this system, you can find that down there. And then if you are also looking to learn a little bit more about cryptocurrency, the actual technology that runs Bitcoin, which is the blockchain and the public ledger, I also have a course, Crypto 101 Mastery, which is also fairly cheap, and you get a discount if you use the link below. And if you buy both of those together, you're going to get a nice bonus discount. However, that's not what today's video is. Today's video is an investment system that can be applied to any token that you want to use. And so you guys should be, adapting it to your own personal needs and wants, your own financial situation. Again, not financial advice, but let's go ahead and get into it. And hopefully, if you guys do follow along, you might make some sick gains as well this bull run. Okay, so before we start talking about the actual investment system, we need to talk about the levels of wealth creation. And this is something that I learned during the last bull run is I tried to apply the same system that I used to initially create my wealth once I had wealth, which led me to getting wrecked. So there's going to be different levels to this. In the very beginning, you're going to need to just take a small amount of money, whatever you have saved up or whatever, and you're going to invest it. That is stage 1. That's where probably most of you guys are going to be at. Some of you may be further down in this pyramid, and you can just adjust your system as I mentioned. However, a lot of people get into this. They have a couple $100s, a couple $1,000s, maybe $10,000, $20,000. And so for you, you'd probably be already at stage 2 if you got about $20,000. I would say you have some wealth built up. But for the most part, if you're under about $20,000 in money that you can invest today, you're going to be in stage 1. And so really you're in the early stages of trying to create wealth. So to do that, we would make investments. The way I always look at it is you want to make small bets with high risk in the very beginning, because if you lose a couple $100s, it's not that big of a deal at the end of the day, and you can make those sick gains that you're looking for, those life-changing gains to really create that wealth, which is where you get to stage 2. You have some sort of wealth here, and now you're looking to get to stage 3 where you multiply that wealth. However, once you're at this level, you no longer want to risk everything, right? You don't want to go into super high risk investments. Everything, you can still do the same thing you did before and make small investments with big risks. However, you don't want to make large investments with big risks. And this is a big mistake that I made early on, is once I started to create a little bit of wealth, I followed the same system, but I just 10x'd it, right? And so now, instead of making investments with $1,000, I was making big risky investments with tens of $1,000s. And what this happens to do is, if you lose on these, you lose a lot of money or a lot of your wealth. So we need to kind of adjust here once we're in the stage of trying to multiply our wealth. And so we can still make, again, small bets with high risk, but we also want to shift our system and start making bigger bets with lower risk, okay? And so this is where we get to kind of multiply our wealth, is we're going to be doing a combination of the two. We're still going to be making those high risk investments with small amounts of money, small amounts of capital, hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, depending. If you get up to be like a millionaire, then maybe we want to start stepping it up to tens of thousands of dollars with those high risk investments, because you can afford to lose more. However, when you're just initially creating wealth, maybe you have like $50,000, you don't want to be putting $10,000 into one high risk investment, because that's 20% of your portfolio. We'd want to stick to our initial system and put, say, $1,000 into that high risk investment that could pay out 10, 20, 30x. But we want, with the majority of our funds, to be in much lower risk, where we can get maybe 2, 3, 5x gains and a lot less risk on our system, okay? So that would bring us to like stage 3. And then once we actually continued this system of making small bets with high risk and large bets with low risk, and we'll get into all this later on in the video, how we're going to do that. But essentially at that point, when we created up to like $1 million or more, I would say you're pretty much at the point now where you want to maintain your wealth, right? And so this is more about wealth preservation. And so we're still going to continue to follow the other system, the lower steps of this pyramid, to where we would still make, smaller bets with high risk, and we can increase the amount here. Once you're a millionaire, maybe $10,000 isn't that big a deal to you anymore, because it's no longer like a large chunk of your portfolio. And then with the larger investments, maybe $100,000 investments at this level, you're going to want to make those much lower risk bets. So we're not losing it all. We have much lower risk, but we make much less. However, this is a percentage game. So if we're making, a 2x on $100,000, that's also a $100,000 gain, to where if we were, making a 10x on $1,000, you're only talking a $10,000 gain. So it does adjust as you go up in the level of wealth that you're at, to where you're no longer necessarily looking to create wealth or multiply that wealth to the same extent you were when you were just starting out with a few hundred or a few $1,000s, okay? So that's key here. This is, again, one of the biggest mistakes I made, is I started investing with, say, thousands of dollars in each investment, and some of them did 10, 20x's. I did really good, and I had a good little chunk of cash to play with, but I continued the same system, just on a 10x of what I was doing before, and I put $10,000, $20,000 into high risk investments and lost it all, and lost a good chunk of that wealth that I had built, because I wasn't thinking about preserving my wealth and maintaining that wealth, or just multiplying it. I was still looking to, kind of create more wealth on these lower level thought patterns and lower level investment systems. And so again, guys, just to recap, depending on where you are on this pyramid, if you're at step 1, where you're just looking to actually invest with a few $100,000, to where you're at stage 2 and you're now looking to turn that into tens of thousands of dollars, or if you're up to $100,000 and you're looking to multiply that into millions, and then once you're at millions, you need to adjust your system and your risk level. So that's enough on this initial system here of the different stages of wealth and how you're going to treat that wealth. Again, the basic principle of the system is small bets with big risk, big bets with low risk. All right, let's move on to the actual pyramid of profit system. All right, guys, here it is. I present to you the pyramid of profit. And on the last little pyramid or triangle that I had on the screen with the wealth creation process, we were going top down. But with this system, we're actually going to be bottom up in a real like pyramid fashion, where we're going to build the base first and work our way up. And so again, just to recap from the very intro to the video, this is the system that I'll put together for myself. You guys can, take it as it is, but this is the exact system I am using this bull run to maximize my profits and minimize my risk. So essentially what it comes down to is 50% of my overall portfolio I want in large caps. Some of the coins that I would consider to be large caps would be Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I'm also keeping a good chunk of this 50% of capital in actual USD or USDC or USDT, Circle or Tether. And so the reason I'm doing this is because obviously Bitcoin and Ethereum, while they can have 20, 30% drawbacks, even sometimes in a day when the market is getting volatile, overall, they're much less riskier. Like, 30% is a lot if you're in the stock market or traditional investment, but for crypto, 30% drawdown is actually fairly low. Some of the smaller alt caps could potentially, have major losses, 90, 80% in a day when the market does a turn. And so those are much higher risk. The way I look at it is I want the very base to be fairly safe here. Again, this comes back to when we were talking about wealth perseverance. We want to make sure that, potentially with these coins, we could do up to like a 10x on Bitcoin and Ethereum. But the most we're going to do on the downside is probably like a 30% within a couple days. We're not going to see more than that. Cross our fingers here. But for the most part, the market is pretty stabilized and it's not going to crash that much. I also want to have a good chunk, as I mentioned, in USD value in either Circle or Tether. So when a good investment pops up or the market does have these drawdowns, I have some capital ready to invest. And we'll get into more of like how I move my capital around throughout the pyramid, but I just want to go step by step to start. So 50% is going to be in large caps or USD value, stable coins. 35% is going to be in what I would consider to be mid caps. So this would include some coins like BNB, Solana, ADA, Polkadot, AVAX, Link, Matic, and SCI. This is where the good chunk of my gains will be made. And we can make 10x gains on Bitcoin and Ethereum during this bull run, but 10x is fairly small. So we're looking to do, higher than that, 10, 20, 30x gains. And I think that's what we could see with these mid caps. And so that's why I'm allocating about 35% of my portfolio to these mid caps, to where we could see probably upwards of 30, 40x gains. Now moving up the pyramid here, I do have about 10% allocated to low caps. And I don't have any listed here because I don't want to, again, give you financial advice on this, but there's lots of low cap coins. Just go on CoinGecko, and anything on like the second or third page I would consider a low cap. Probably anything after the first page would really be like a low cap. First page is mostly going to be your large caps or your mid caps. And then, after the first page, you're getting into these very low cap coins. However, the benefit of these low cap coins is we can do the 100x's, the 50x's. This is where we're going to generate a lot of the wealth if you are on the lower stage of that first investment pyramid, where you just have $100, $1,000. You maybe want to allocate more than 10%. And that's why I said this system was put together for me where I am in my financial situation. However, you can adjust this as needed based on your own personal financial, situation wherever you guys are with your own capital. And so if you have a lot more money than me, there's obviously people out there who are millionaires. Maybe they want more than 50% in large caps and less than 10% in low caps. However, if you are someone that's just starting out, you only have a couple $1,000s, you probably want to increase the amount of your low caps to maybe a larger percentage of your portfolio, 20, 30%, and maybe a little bit less in the USD and a little bit less in these mid caps. So that's 100% up to you guys. Again, adjust this as needed. And then, so as we're going up, guys, we're going to see at the very top here where we're going to see the highest percentage gains. Where we want to allocate the lowest amount of money would be in ICO, or initial coin offerings, pre-sales, and ultra micro caps. So this is anything under like 10 million market cap. I would consider a micro cap something that just launches. Maybe you get on a a launch pad. There's lots of like launch pads out there, and maybe we'll do another video where I'll cover all the different launch pads and what you can do. And then there's also some like VCs type fun things to where you can get in essentially pre-sale before it even does initial like DEX offering or initial coin offering. You can get in and the coin will do, potentially 10-20x before it even launches to the public. And then once it hits the public, it might do another 100x from there. And so this is where you want to allocate, the smallest amount, unless, again, you're at the very early stages of your investment process. Maybe you want a larger percentage there. But for me, where I am, I'm putting approximately 5% of my overall portfolio into these type of investments. Now, it's also key to kind of mention here that if you're getting into these like pre-sale VC type funds, a lot of times those coins are going to be locked up for like a vesting period of 2 years, and they unlock, maybe every 4 months or every 6 months on a cliff. And so you're not going to be able to just sell these off right away. So even though those gains do sound sick, where you're talking 20x before it hits the public and then another, 10, 20, 30x from there, you actually have to wait, and you're only going to get a portion of those coins. So just keep that in mind. However, with the ICOs, generally you're going to get them right away. So you're going to get the best possible price the public is going to get. And at that point, if it does a good run up during the bull run, you can sell them as needed. And today's video, again, isn't going to be about like laddering in and out. I've done other videos in the past on that and like how to take profits and whatnot. So you guys can search my channel on that if you want. And maybe I'll do another video again in the future on this. But essentially, I'm going to show you guys in the next slide of how we're going to make our money flow throughout this pyramid. But again, just recapping what we have here, the largest percentage should be the lowest risk, and that's where I'm allocating 50% to large caps. As we move up, we're going to increase our risk and decrease the amount of capital that we're allocating. So for me, it's 35% to mid caps, 10% to low caps, and 5% to these like micro cap or pre-sales. All right, let me get my next slide going, and let's cover how our money is going to flow up and down in this pyramid. Okay, so essentially you can see here from our large chunk or our base where we have our USD mostly, or our Bitcoin and Ethereum, or whatever coins you consider to be your like large cap investments. We're going to take gains out of those and flow them up the pyramid or down the capital list, right? So we'll take them out of these large caps. We'll go from USD or from Bitcoin and Ethereum into some of these mid caps. So when Bitcoin pumps and has some nice gains, we take a little bit of profit and put it into some of these mid caps. Then when the mid caps have the nice gains, and generally it runs in cycles like this, guys, it goes like Bitcoin, Ethereum, mid caps, low caps, micro caps, because a lot of people are using this very same system. And so this is just makes sense essentially, but you're essentially taking your gains. It goes in waves. So your gains from the large caps into the mid caps, then the mid caps might pump a few weeks or a month later, and we're going to take the profits from that and flow them into some more lower cap type investments. And when those pump maybe a month later, a couple weeks later, we're going to take them out and put them back into the large caps. Now, all of these we can either flow up the system into lower cap, higher risk investments, or take our profits and secure those gains back into these large caps. Okay, so that's essentially how the system works. And the big key thing here is in the beginning, we do want to kind of flow our large caps into mid caps into low caps into the ICOs, pre-sales, and micro caps. But as we get later and later into the bull run, we want to take more of those funds and re-put them back into our larger cap coins. And at the end of the bull run, we want to probably cash out, or at least this is what I'm doing. I'm going to cash out probably around 80% of my large caps back into stable. So by the end of this bull run here, and we're on a 4-year cycle using the stock to flow model. I have lots of videos on that. Probably do another one here in the future as we get closer to the halving with Bitcoin in April. But essentially, that's in a 4-year cycle. And the way it looks right now is the market is going to peak out in the late summer, early fall of 2025. So from the time of today's video, we have over a year and a half. But as we get towards the end of this current 4-year cycle, the end of this current bull run, I'm going to cash out 80% of all of my crypto. I'm not going to have anything in these micro caps unless it's still vested and locked up and I can't get it out. I'm not going to have anything in low caps. I'm going to have very, very minimum amount in mid caps. I'll probably keep some DOT, probably keep some SOL, just to play around on the ecosystem, probably some BNB again, so I can play around on that system, a little bit of Matic, because I do like the Polygon gaming ecosystem. I'm really a fan of AVAX and SCI, so I'll keep a small percentage of those. And other than that, I'm going to keep, again, probably like 20% of my Bitcoin in Ethereum. Everything else is getting cashed out into USDC or T stables, or even into fiat, put some gains back into my bank account. So by the end of the bull run, this pyramid is going to look much different. This pyramid is essentially going to be 80% stables, like 10% large caps, or 15% large caps, and maybe like 5% mid caps. Again, so we want to make sure we're adjusting. You guys can see how I have that here, to how the money flows up the pyramid as we make gains on each of these stages. We're going to kind of flow it into these lower cap, higher risk investments, and then back down into the base of the pyramid, which would be our stables and our Bitcoin and Ethereum. So that's basically it for this system, guys. Obviously, I could go much more in depth. It could be a lot more complicated. This could be like a 10-part video series where I go super in depth into each piece of this, and how you want to time it, and what percentages you should be doing in terms of like your actual capital. But this is pretty good. This is pretty much what I'm doing here. So again, I'm never investing more than 10% of my overall portfolio in low caps, never more than 5% of my overall portfolio into these micro caps. And so I feel like that's fairly safe for me with my risk level. It's a high risk investment and we're making small bets. If I lose 10% of my net worth, obviously that's a big hit, but it's nowhere near a big hit as I've taken in the past, where I've actually lost up to like 50% of my total net worth because I was making dumb investments and putting a larger percentage than I should have in these low caps and micro caps because I wanted those big gains. I was high risk, high reward. However, when that high risk doesn't pay out, it hurts, guys, and it takes a long time to remake up those gains that you will lose, and you will lose, okay? So nothing in this market is guaranteed. There will be rug pulls. There will be scams. There will be things that are legitimate projects that just don't work out. Their marketing's bad. Their product has an error, whatever. These things do happen. This is cryptocurrency. It still is the wild, wild west of investing. And so you have to assume you will take some losses. And this is where your risk management comes into play. So again, the way I would encourage everyone out there watching this, if you want, is to make your own pyramid here with your own percentages and what coins you're going to put in each one of these stages based on where you are in that first wealth pyramid. Are you in the very early stages where you're trying to create wealth and you can be much riskier with a smaller amount of money? Or are you in the middle to where you're looking to multiply that wealth and, become a millionaire? Or are you already a millionaire or multi-millionaire to now where you want to make gains but also preserve your wealth and maintain it? So each of you should do your own pyramid. You can use mine as kind of like a template or whatnot. But again, everyone should have their own personal stuff, not financial advice. Do your own due diligence, your own research. Never invest more money than you can personally afford to lose, which is kind of the point of this pyramid, right? Is if you can't afford to lose more than 10%, you shouldn't be putting it in a low cap or a micro cap that has a high percentage or a high risk of actual having a loss. Keep them safe, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy this. If so, leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think, or if you want to chat with me or run, your investment system by me, I'm happy to comment on it. So go ahead and join up my Discord chat, which is also linked below. And again, if you guys want to know what coins I'm investing in, you can purchase that bitrush's blueprint for only a few dollars. And if you guys want to invest in the most important thing you could invest in, which is yourself, educating yourself on cryptocurrency, on blockchain, I do have that Crypto 101 Mastery course, which is fairly affordable. It's actually very affordable, I was going to say. But you do get a discount also if you use the link in the description below for all of my viewers out there. And if you combine those two pieces, which I think is a great investment in yourself, educating yourself and getting a list of coins that someone like myself is looking at and investing in this bull run, you're going to be way ahead of the game of everyone else, and you're going to get a nice package discount on that. And then you can apply that to this system that you're going to create for yourself. You should be fairly successful. Again, I've had lots of gains, lots of great investments throughout my career as an investor, and I've also had some flops. I've made some mistakes. I've had some failures. And so I've learned throughout the years, and which is why I've put together this system here. So, take it with a grain of salt, but also this is something that I'm personally using. This system I presented today is the very exact system that I'm using this bull run. Again, hope you guys enjoyed it. If so, tap on that thumbs up button. Make sure you're subbed for future videos, as I will be doing some more stuff, possibly on like where you can go for launch pads or these VC style investments. There's lots of good stuff out there, and I'm going to be covering some of that very soon. I'm also going to be doing lots of other coins as they launch, like what coins I do think are good investments in terms of the low to micro caps. I've already covered a lot of these larger cap, mid cap coins, so you guys can search my channel. The prices changed, but the basic fundamentals, a lot of these coins are the same. So if you guys want to watch those past videos, you can learn a lot of content based on my channel. So just go ahead and search some of those back videos. Other than that, hope you guys are having a great day. Let's get that coin. I'll see you in the next video.